So let's talk about the military radar system, the request from the American government to install a military radar system at the Maurice Bishop International Airport. So this is something that we have been talking about now for at least a month, and we have been waiting on the Prime Minister, Dickon, to bring this to Parliament. And yesterday evening, he finally brought it to Parliament and to update the people of Grenada what is really going on. And where this issue is concerned, we have seen the divide in the Caribbean, and we have seen how different Caribbean islands deal with this type of relationship with the American government. We saw the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. She is 100% in with the Trump administration, and the people of Trinidad and Tobago did not get a choice in the matter. And then we saw the Prime Minister of Antigua Barbuda, Gaston Brown, and Gaston Brown shut it down right away and says, no, not in my country. So now we are looking at Dickon Mitchell, and people are waiting to see what he's going to do. So we have seen 3 different prime ministers in the Caribbean, 3 different approach. But in my opinion, I believe that the Prime Minister of Grenada is doing the right thing. People, some people might call it he's pushing the tire down the road. Some people might call it a delay tactics. But I believe that what he's doing to take his time, move at a snail pace with this request and bring it to the people of Grenada, I believe that that is the right way to go. And a lot of people are going to have their opinion on how the Prime Minister should deal with the situation. But this is not anyone that would sit here and say that this is an easy decision is not being genuine, because we know, we have seen it before. We saw with the Cuban medical program when Marco Rubio came to the Caribbean and tell the governments what would happen if they did not get rid of the Cuban doctors within the Caribbean. And we saw that disappear, and all of a sudden we are hearing that we are getting new medical practitioners, nurses and doctors from places in Africa, from places in the Philippines. So this Trump administration is not an administration that is going to sit down and negotiate with the Caribbean. These people negotiate like a mafia. They're going to tell you what to do, and if you don't do it, they're going to make you feel it. And the reality is that 80% of the economy in Grenada is tied to America, whether it's tourism, whether it's import-export. Most of the economy there, not only in Grenada, but in the wider Caribbean. So it is not an easy choice, but I believe that the Prime Minister is doing the right thing. I believe he's getting advice from the right people, moving at snail pace with this decision, and getting the people of Grenada involved in the decision. So the Prime Minister, when whatever decision the Prime Minister comes to, and the people are part of that decision, if there's any repercussion in terms of sanction, in terms of any extra tariff that is imposed on the people of Grenada, then at least the Prime Minister will know that, look, we made this decision together, and I did not just go out and make a decision by myself that is going to affect the people of Grenada. So this is what the Prime Minister had to say last night in the House of Parliament.
The public has engaged in heated debate and discussions in relation to the disclosure that the United States government, through the Southern Command, has sought our permission to erect a radar at the Maurice Bishop International Airport. And I have both seen, observed, and have obviously met with significant questions and queries from the public about this issue. I just want to provide a little context, Mr. Speaker, as to where we are, so I can emphasize a couple of things. First, Mr. Speaker, we have ongoing security cooperation and arrangements with the United States and our regional partners on almost all aspects of law enforcement matters, including combating the drug trade and narcotics trafficking and the proceeds of narcotics trafficking through various legislative initiatives that are common to many of us, through many cooperation and regional institutions such as the RSS, CARICOM Impacts, the JRCC, the Gun Intelligence Unit, and other areas of cooperation. sometimes the cooperation does extend to the U.S. Southern Command, which is the military arm of the U.S. Mr. Speaker, so cooperation with the U.S. is an ongoing and permanent issue, particularly when it comes to, in the case of the U.S., drug flow to the north, and in the case of Grenada and many of our Caribbean brothers and sisters, the gun trade to the south. The request to install a radar is part of a broader request for further security cooperation, some of which we've already agreed to, but which, because of the fact that we don't want criminals to know what are some of the arrangements for addressing crime, we simply cannot disclose publicly. The radar issue specifically, Mr. Speaker, I think the debate that is ongoing is a clear indication of the fact that this government was fully aware that because of the nature of the request, that it could not proceed to make a definitive yes, for the very reasons that we've seen played out in the public. Second, so we first appreciate that the Morris Bishop International site, by its very history, is one that is historic, of significance to the public, and one that evokes a lot of emotive reactions. That's one. And therefore, clearly, we appreciate that the public will want to opine on this matter. Second, and perhaps more fundamentally important, the Morris Bishop International Airport is a civilian airport, and therefore it is not equipped to treat with military-type operations. Third, any installing of the radar would obviously disrupt the operations of the Morris Bishop International Airport, and we would need technical advice as to whether or not it was feasible or advisable to do so. And so, Mr. Speaker, when the Ministry of Foreign Affairs put out the statement indicating that we were considering requests, to a large extent, what we were doing is paying attention to the technical aspect of the request and whether or not such a request could, in fact, be accommodated at the Morris Bishop International Airport. That technical assessment is still ongoing and has not been completed. The U.S. request included first an opportunity for Southern Command to assess the site. They have done so, and after having done so, they would have indicated that there were two sites that they were interested in. In light of the ongoing discussions that we've held with them on the technical issues, they have come back and indicated that they are interested perhaps in one site. They have also indicated, Mr. Speaker, that they wish to have a response by a particular time. We have not been able to provide that response for the simple reason that I've said, just from a technical point of view, we are not in a position to satisfy ourselves as to the safety and other technical requirements as to whether or not such equipment properly ought to be at the airport. The other fundamental issue that we have to consider, Mr. Speaker, is the fact that Grenada has no military, and therefore our cooperation with the U.S. has always been in the context of law enforcement, and in the context of our own domestic law, and in the context of international law. And therefore we would have inquired as to the legal basis or framework upon which, given that this is a military request, that the request was being made, and we've entered into discussions on those issues, which are not settled. So when we indicated that we're considering, I'm simply providing a bit more context and more detail, that is precisely what we have been doing. It's important to point out, and I think this is important for me to go on the record, to say that as Prime Minister of the country, and the government believed we would not enter into any agreement which from a Grenada perspective has any possibility of violating Grenadian domestic law or violating international law. And as it stands right now, as I said, the technical discussions are largely what has been taking place. That is the update I have, and if there is a need for any further update, we will provide it. I wish to assure the public that we will not make any decisions on this matter in secret and not disclose to the public. And in any event, it can't be kept a secret. You can't hide a radar if it's at the Morris Bishop International Airport.
Yes, so based on the points that the Prime Minister make, you can see that the Prime Minister is really getting some good advice on this. First of all, that Grenada doesn't have a military, so they don't know how to deal with military. And this military request is something that they have never dealt with before, and they need counsel on it. So that is the first thing that stood out to me. And also that the airport is a civilian airport, and to install like military asset at a civilian airport, they have to get advice on that also. So you can see that the Prime Minister is going through all the channels to slow this thing up. And someone said to me that what they believe that the Prime Minister is doing is to slow this thing down, and they are sure that, look, by the end of the year, the American government, they are going to invade Venezuela. And in the midst of the invasion, they're not going to be worried about asking Grenada again to install this equipment at the airport. So they believe that that is what the Prime Minister is doing. Because based on all the information that we're getting coming out of this Trump administration, I would be surprised if we end this year without the government, the American government, invading Venezuela. And I'm 100% sure that the Prime Minister of Grenada do not want to get involved with this. Do not want to get his hands dirty, do not want to get involved in a war, do not want to participate, do not want to endorse this. And that is why I believe that he is delaying this thing. And as I said, I believe that this is a good approach. And anyone who is criticizing and saying the Prime Minister should do what Gaston Brown did and just shut it down now, you don't know what type of negotiation is going on behind the scene. This is a closed door negotiation. You don't know what Marco Rubio, you don't know what the Trump administration is saying, that look, if you don't do this, this is going to be the repercussion. So the Prime Minister have to take everything in consideration. And I hope that if the Prime Minister, when they get closer to making the decision, I hope the Prime Minister will come out and address the nation and say, look, this is what will happen if we do it, and this is what will happen if we say no, and come up front to the people of Grenada. And as I said, let the people of Grenada make this decision, whether it's a referendum or just test the temperature to see if most people in Grenada is saying no to this, and then make your move. So those are just my opinion. But guys, sound off in the comment section and let me know your thought on this one. Do you like how Dickon Mitchell is dealing with the situation, or do you wish that he would just say, you know what? No, we do not want it here. Let me know in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.